Hello, everybody, and I hope you had a good weekend. So let me explain what I'm doing here. This is basically an update. It's an update to something that I brought up actually a week ago. It was last Monday. And if you go back to that video, you'll see what I'm speaking about. But this video is just an update. Basically, what had happened last Monday is that I had shown part of a conversation that took place where Darth was speaking with some of his, I want to say, for a lack of a better word, again, his friends. But anyway, there was another individual there in the conversation by the name of Eli Ayala. And in that conversation, which if you go back to I think it's the last video I did, I think it was the last one I did, which was last Monday, you can hear that conversation. Now, let me explain what I'm doing here. This photo that you are looking at, oh, wait, let me step back one thing. Let me step back and say one thing before I get started with my point. In the Clubhouse software or the Clubhouse application, if you go to the Clubhouse and you look at Darth Dawkins, his profile, this is what you will see under his profile. 2 Corinthians 10:5. We are destroying arguments and all arrogance raised against the knowledge of God, and we are taking every thought captive to the obedience of Christ. Okay, so that is one of the Bible verses that he has used now and also in the past. And now let me go back to the point of the photo. That individual you are looking at, I'm going to try to say the name right, Hiro or Hiryu Anada. Who is Hiryu Anada? Okay, let me explain. He was a soldier in the Japanese army. This was during the time of the Japanese War, United States against Japan. And what basically happened was that there was a point in time where he was in the woods with his other, I guess, soldiers, companions, whatever the case may be, and something took place where all of them either died or they got separated, something like that. So he was in the woods in this forest, basically hiding out because he was alone. He didn't see anyone for quite a long time. He didn't see anyone else. He was in a very remote area. And basically what happened over time, he stayed there. He decided that he was going to stay there and wait till the war finished. Okay? Now, let me go to that. So the war officially ended in 1945. That's the official date. The war for Hiryu Anada did not end in 1945. It ended 29 years later in 1974. Now, let me explain what I mean. And by the way, this is a photo of him when he was older, and they were speaking to him about his situation. What had happened was he thought the war was still going on. So eventually, 29 years after the war actually officially ended, I guess someone saw him. There was either civilians or whatever the case may be, but they saw him in the forest, or either that or he came out of the forest. Either or. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but that's basically what happened. And when they confronted him and asked him, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm here hiding. I'm waiting for the war to end. You know, I don't want to come out until I know that the war is actually over. So he didn't know at that time that the war had already ended 29 years earlier, officially. So what am I saying here? Darth has that verse in his profile, but the war, you know, he mentions that there is a war of worldviews or a clash between worldviews. That war is already over. Now, I myself, I have been in social media with my current channel since approximately 4 years ago. I think I'm a little over 4 years. Now, I can pinpoint going back to at least 2016, where the war for Darth Dawkins, it already ended. Now, why do I say that? Because at that time, Darth made a statement, which I think is probably the most important statement that he has ever made about his particular worldview. In fact, in this particular video, it was a very long video. It was, I think, in Sydney Winston's channel. And that particular video, it was so important that I actually downloaded the entire video. The video was, I think, either a little under or a little over 6 hours long, okay? But in that conversation, there were a couple things that came up, and I'm going to let you listen to the point where Darth, basically what he did. From a philosophical point of view, Darth sealed his fate, okay? He said something that philosophically sealed his faith, or his fate. Before I get to that clip, let me explain something which will maybe make it a little clearer. I don't say too much about myself in my videos. I don't elaborate. And I don't do that because I am a very private person, okay? So I don't really generally say too much about myself, but one thing that I've actually said before, I did a video, I think could have been maybe last year or a couple of years back, where I did bring up a few things about myself personally. And one of the things that I do or that I have experience in is I am a tournament level chess player, and not only a player, but a winner, okay? Multiple times, not just once. But the example I wanted to give, I learned in chess, and it is called, there is a certain position or a certain move which is known as Zugzwang. Now, that word is a German word, but basically what it means is that no matter where a particular person moves or what they do, one of the players is going to reach a point in a particular game, and that move that they need to make, okay, they cannot skip their move or they cannot pass. But no matter where they move, it's going to be worse than where they had already been. The position is going to worsen. It's not going to get better no matter what option they do. That is what happened in the conversation that I heard approximately a week ago. Darth thought that by concurring with Eli Ayala, he thought that it was going to have some type of an explanation or maybe a justification, but that is not actually what happened. So things only got worse for Darth, even though he thought that it was something where he was getting bailed out of his particular situation. But now I'm going to let you listen to the clip, part of the conversation, in this video that took place back, to my knowledge, it was back in 2016. Here is that, or part of that conversation.
I'm not going to.
Well, I told you what he said. I told you what he said.
I'm not going to go by what you say. I'm going to ask the man himself.
Okay.
He's here.
Okay, good. And he just confirmed that is correct. This is how poorly Ask an Atheist Sydney reasons.
Now, why do you say that? Well, let's hear your argument against it.
Because you believe induction can give you answers of certainty.
I said that physics is the same everywhere in the universe. Why is that not correct?
I didn't say that was not correct. I said you can't substantiate that.
So it is correct.
No.
And if it is correct, why should I substantiate it?
Yeah, if you're not saying
okay, you see what I'm dealing with here, Dex? I'm dealing here with adults who have the mind of teenagers.
Well, do you think that's a correct or incorrect statement? That
okay,
physics are the same everywhere.
It is an unsubstantiated claim that Sydney has made that physics is the same everywhere.
What do you think?
Well, what I think is that the Christian God exists, and He has revealed Himself, and He has revealed that He has made it. Okay. Well, I don't know that physics is the same everywhere in the universe, but what I do presume, since I presume the Christian God exists.
Okay, so when Darth spit that out, the war officially ended. Whether he agrees with it or not, or whether he realized it or not, or whether he admits it or not, according to himself, not according to me, don't take my word for it, according to himself, with the 500 zillion rules that he presents to us, according to his own rules, the war ended for him. Okay, now I'm going to show you one more clip, which is going to be part of the video once I finish it. This is also going to be part of it. But pay attention. In the conversation that they had, it had to do with self-evident truths. Whenever you speak about something that is self-evident, you also have to speak about the truth. That's part of it. And so when we speak about the truth as in self-evident, that is something that it means, well, okay, let me put it this way. Darth himself, when he was, again, with some of his friends, he actually Googled the word axiom. And when he did that, basically, it came out to be something that is a self-evident truth. It is something that is obvious to everyone, and nobody can deny it. Now, with that, I'm going to show you the other clip, which I thought was really interesting, but it's very appropriate for the video that I'm going to be turning out. Hopefully, I'll be finished with it, I hope, in the next couple days. But here is that clip.
Are contradictory states of affairs ever valid in your worldview?
Contradictory states of affairs can't exist. That's what makes them contradictory.
Okay, good. How do you know that?
Is this blue pen red?
Okay,
definition
now,
is what he's trying to
okay, let me ask you a question.
Now, if you looked at that really close, notice that Darth did not want to answer his question. And he knew why he didn't want to answer it. Okay? He knew that it would be beneficial and not to his advantage to answer that question. Okay? So when we speak about something that is self-evident, we're not just talking about something where there is some type of I want to use the word, I'm trying to think of the right word, delineation or a demarcation. But I'm going to finish this video by saying that even if I choose to agree with some of the things that Darth says, I want to use the word if I acquiesce. That's the good word, because I've heard him mention that. So even if I am willing to acquiesce on what Darth and Eli were speaking about, even if I'm willing to do that, it doesn't matter. The statement that Darth made back in 2016, as well as the conversation that took place a couple days ago, that is nothing said is going to turn one way or another on what is my worldview. Okay, so let me end the video now. Like I said, I'm still working on it. It's not that I actually didn't have enough material or didn't have enough information, because I had plenty. I had all I need. I had all I needed. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to arrange it in a certain way, the best way, in order to show what I'm trying to show. Now, that's it for now, and I'm going to go ahead and end it. And so please stay tuned. Hopefully within the next 2 or 3 days, I will have the video finished. Okay, thank you for watching. Have a good one.
Here she comes, right at us. Watch them come together. There it is. Look out. Wow, some smash.
God belief, and by the way, I'm sure you're aware that I only defend Christian theism. In Christian theism, listen to me carefully. The reason why I have to be so assertive is because I have this teenage mentality. Listen carefully.